I was like, whoa, like, cool.
Because you didn't know it was for Google, right? You just thought it was like for a tech company.
Yeah,
just, like,
this guy messaged me on Facebook, and he's like, to my MALLRAT page, and he's like, I work for a major tech company, and we need like a song approved now, like, what's your management's number? And I was like, oh, whatever, like, this seems so dodgy. This guy just like rolled down his window and started laughing at me, and I was like,
what?
Oh, that's so annoying, like, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, nah, I'm just gonna move, I can't do this anymore. I want to be able to wear outfits that I like and feel comfortable.
Engel. Today I'm here with MALLRAT.
Hello.
So you were born in Brisbane, right?
Yeah.
Were your parents born there as well?
Yeah.
Oh, what did they do?
Dad does one of those really vague corporate jobs that I always try and explain, but I never end up. It's just so vague and corporate. Yeah, and Mum's got a writing background, but she's not working at the moment.
Oh, so you got your like creative side more from her then?
Actually, Dad's from a journalist, like they both have a journalistic background, but aren't doing that right now.
Yeah. What kind of music did they play in the house when you were growing up?
I remember listening to the OC soundtrack and like Jackson 5 and heaps of disco stuff, and also like Johnny Cash and they're the main ones that I can think of, and lots of country music as well.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Can you describe the kind of house and environment that you grew up in?
So it was like, it's my little sister. Oh, look at that dog is so cool out the window.
Oh, yeah.
My little sister and my dog and my mum and dad when I was little, and then my parents separated. So it was like at times a horrible, horrible place to live. Like it was just not good.
Yeah. What age were you when you were going through
just
that?
Like all through my teens.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I guess music was kind of something that you like fell back on, or
yeah,
like,
it was.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
How would you describe yourself back then growing up?
Really like similar to myself now, except not as confident. So I think like very kind-hearted and gets along with everybody and loves animals and like, yeah. Except just like an awkward teenager. And I'm still just awkward, but less awkward as time goes on.
Did you like school though growing up?
Yeah, I was really good at school until I realized I really loved music. And I wanted to do music, and then it just was like a frustrating obligation.
Yeah.
But I did really well in school up until that point.
Did your parents kind of push you academically, or was it just kind of in yourself?
Yeah. It was like something that I naturally didn't find too difficult. But like my sister and I were both at school on scholarship, so there was some pressure to like maintain that.
Yeah. Before music, what was your favorite subject?
Japanese.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What about it?
I thought it was just really structured, and the teacher was really gorgeous, like really kind-hearted.
Yeah.
I also really liked English.
Oh, did the Japanese side kind of influence you now, or is it?
Like, I love Japan.
Yeah.
So I guess so.
And your style, or?
Yeah, I love Japanese style. Like, I got this in, like, my jacket in Japan.
Oh.
And yeah, I don't know. Like, when I went to Japan last year, we just bought so many clothes.
What was the first record you bought?
I think it was maybe Allday's album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with my own money, like.
That's so full
that,
circle.
and also Azalea Banks.
And then how did, like, music take a bigger and bigger part of your life? Was there, like, a turning point?
Yeah, I always feel so weird repeating myself about it, because I feel like I must talk about him so much. But it was going to an Allday concert. I went and I was like, and when I started listening to his music, I was like, oh my God, this is something that maybe I can do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Were you doing music before? Like, did you learn any instruments?
When I was really little, I did a little bit of piano, and I was in like school choirs. So I think the choirs probably gave me some confidence that I could sing, but it was never like an enjoyable experience. But I knew that I could.
Yeah.
But it's funny because now I don't think I'm that good of a singer. I think that I'm a good songwriter, but I think my voice is only good for my songs. It's not even that good.
Oh, no. But for like the songwriting aspects, were you like good at writing in general, like stories, like creative writing for school?
Yeah, I think I was good at writing and communicating.
Mm-hmm. And then after like the Allday concert, did you just realize that you were able to write songs as well, or how did that come about?
Like at the beginning you don't have that much confidence in your ability. So like definitely at the beginning it was just something that I was very scared to show people. But I just had a gut feeling that I should stick with it, so I kind of just followed that instinct.
Mm-hmm. The early songs, what did you write about?
They, whenever I write, it's not really about anything in particular. It's just like stream of consciousness, kind of, just like a train of thought. And then usually at the end I realize what it's about, but they were just like about being bored and suburban.
What did your parents think of the whole thing initially?
My mum didn't and doesn't really get it, but I think she's starting to get it. And Dad was really supportive as well, because I think he could see that I was trying to be business minded about it, and like just like I was very serious about it, so he was really supportive. Yeah.
And then to like get into like studios, you were like babysitting before, right? To
Yeah,
like afford it.
yeah. It was crazy. Like grade 12, I would wake up at 4 a.m, go to babysitting. This is like all during like final exams and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I'd wake up at 4 a.m, go to babysitting, and then go to school at like 8:30, and then school until 3, and then from 4 until 7 I would be tutoring. No, I'd be from 4 to 6 I would babysit, and then I'd go to a different house, and from 6 to 7 I'd do tutoring. And then that was like, so 4 a.m. till 7 p.m, and then I'd get home and I'd work on music. And then up until like 1 a.m, and I just wouldn't do schoolwork. But it was so I could save up money and go to the studio, so it was definitely worth it, even though it was insane.
Did you learn how to use the studio yourself and everything?
Well, I like started off just with GarageBand on my laptop, and then when I went into the studio for the first EP, like I was still like learning how it worked, so how to record and everything, and like how to mix and master songs. Another squirrel. That's so cute. I love squirrels.
So did you learn this all from like YouTube or like Googling online?
More just from asking the people that I was working with. So when I would go into the studio, I would like ask the audio
So you already
engineer.
were working with producers at that point, because you were like sending them demos, right?
Yeah, like GarageBand demos, and then all the first EP is like the first songs that I made. So that was just going into the studio with stuff that I'd written, and then they would just record the vocals.
Oh, how did you find like the producers initially?
One of them, there's a band in Brisbane called Cub Sport, and I asked them if they knew anybody who could help me like record a song, or like actually no, first I asked for if they knew a guitar teacher, and it was this guy called Elliot. And then we did a couple of guitar lessons, and I was like, Elliot, can I show you a demo? He's like, okay. And then he helped me record it in the studio. So yeah, that was like my first time in the studio, and that was the first song that came out, called Suicide Blonde, which is like I don't like it anymore. Oh my God. But that's okay. It's like some people still like it. Actually, that's something good that I've learned, is like it's a reflection of where you are at the time, so you have to just accept it as that, and like you can't always be going back and trying to change it, because it's going to be what somebody likes right now.
Yeah. You wrote your own like press release kind of before it all happened, like sent it all out to all these blogs. And then in the morning you woke up, like it was played everywhere.
I didn't do a press release, but I did just like upload it to actually no, you are right, because I did.
You.
I emailed it to this blog called MALLRAT.
Yeah.
Which is like Perth based.
Well, that's how you
because
say
I'd
it.
won a pair of headphones. I can't believe you reminded me. Yeah, because I'd won a pair of headphones from them, and I'm like, I used these headphones to make my first song. Like, can you premiere it? And they're like, okay. And they did it. So you're exactly right. Yeah. And then like you said, like I just woke up one morning and I had all these emails from like different labels here in America, and I was like, oh, I gotta go to school.
Damn.
It was so weird.
And you figured it all out yourself, like how to write the press release, like send it out to.
Well, at the very beginning, it was only like personally emailing a few different blogs. So it kind of was, but pretty quickly I had like a team on board, like a manager and a publicist and stuff. Like kind of like a few days to weeks after, I kind of had a full team around me, which is insane.
How do you know that they were the team you want to work with and you can trust them? Especially like at a young age.
Yeah,
like 16
well,
at
I
that
didn't end
time.
up sticking with the manager that I had at the beginning, but I don't know. I kind of just had to go for it.
What did you learn from like being with them early on? Do you think you like went into it all too quickly, or do you think you should have like waited longer before you had a team?
I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, I think it's all been good lessons. Nothing crazy bad has happened, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it happened too quickly. It did happen very quickly, but I wouldn't change it. I don't know.
Yeah. And then how long after did you sign with like the American team that you have?
Not for a while. Like we were talking to labels for like a year or two, but we did like distribution before we signed a record deal. So that was kind of how the first EP came out. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you realize that you wanted to be with them?
The contract was good. Like that's kind of it.
And was this after like the Google ad? They did the Pixel phone, right? They used your song, or was this?
Yeah. So I mean, the deal was signed like before that, but they announced it with that Google ad.
Oh.
It's tricks of the trade.
Damn, what was your reaction when you saw that come out?
I was like, whoa, like, cool.
Because you didn't know it was for Google, right? You just thought it was like for a tech company.
Yeah,
just, like, hit you
this
up
guy
online.
messaged me on Facebook, and he's like, it's in my MALLRAT page, and he's like, I work for a major tech company, and we need like a song approved now. Like, what's your management's number? And I was like, oh, whatever. Like, this seems so dodgy. But I gave him my manager's email, which I do like all the time if someone's kind of like, I don't know, I just don't want to keep dealing with them. So I'm like, here's my manager's email, like, email him. But yeah, and then it was a Google ad, and it was like really good.
What do you love so much about Fergie? She's like a huge part of like your inspiration.
Okay, so actually that's another thing that I listened to when I was little, like that and Future Sex Love Sound by Justin Timberlake. That was like what I listened to when I was getting ready for school. So I think that's like nostalgic, and also just like her songs were sick, and Black Eyed Peas is sick. Yeah.
Didn't you like also like meet Paris Hilton?
Yeah. These are great questions. Yeah. When she DJ'd in Brisbane, my friends and I like waited outside the club. She was DJing out until like 6 a.m. on a Monday.
On a Monday.
And then we met her and got a photo, and she was so cool and funny and nice.
I remember you said she was funny. I never thought Paris Hilton would be like
such
funny.
a cool sense of humor. Yeah, she's really funny. I think people think that she's dumb, but she's just pretending to be dumb. Like same as the Kardashians, like they lean into that character.
They know everything. I mean, that's why they're like.
That's why they're so rich.
They're so good at business.
They're so smart about it.
Yeah. Have you always been vegan?
No. So I went vegan about 3-ish years ago. Yeah.
What was the turning point for that?
I think it was when I started making music, and I started meeting a lot of people who were vegan and vegetarian, like Allday and all his friends. But before that, I never really knew anybody. Actually, I didn't know anybody who was vegan.
Really? In Australia?
Yeah, not in Brisbane. I didn't know anyone. But then I started going to Melbourne to work, and I realised like all these people that I thought were so cool were vegan. I was like, oh, well, it doesn't seem that hard anymore. I'll just give it a go. And it was like the best decision I've ever made.
Was it hard for you?
No. It was actually really easy because my little sister also went vegan.
Oh.
Yeah, she's really cool.
And did you like move to Melbourne?
Yeah, I moved like mid last year.
Oh, what was the decision for that?
Well, Brisbane is like really, I think there were like lots of turning points. Like, so Allday and his DJ Paolo are like two of my best friends. And they came up to Brisbane for a show, and I was hanging out with them, and then they left the next day. I was like, I miss you guys way too much. Like, I cannot be, like, I just felt like all my best friends lived in Melbourne. And then I was like, I'm really serious about moving at some point soon. And then I was walking. I live on a main road in Brisbane, and I was just wearing like a big hoodie and like some funky boots, and like it wasn't even that crazy of an outfit, but it was definitely like a bit of a stretch for Brisbane. Like people don't really wear cool stuff. And then this guy just like rolled down his window and started laughing at me, and I was like,
what?
Oh, that's so annoying. Like you just don't get it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, nah, I'm just gonna move. I can't do this anymore. I want to be able to wear outfits that I like and feel comfortable.
Do you consider Sydney?
I really like I like Sydney as much as I like Melbourne, but all my friends were in Melbourne, so yeah. Then the next day I like applied for a lease, and then I got it the day after that, and then the next week I just moved, and it was so good. But I'll move to LA like this year.
Yeah, I read about it. So it's all confirmed with their visa.
Yeah, I got my visa now.
Oh my gosh, do you know when?
No. I got to do some shows in Australia first.
Is it just because like the whole music scene is kind of the same reasons why Allday moved here?
Yeah, like the actually music scene in Australia is really good, but it's hard to break outside of Australia, and I really want to do that. And I also want to write for other artists, like pop stuff, so that's kind of why I want to move.
Yeah. Did you always want to songwrite for other people?
No, I didn't really realize it was a thing for ages, and then I realized that it was, and it's something that I could do.
Yeah.
And I've been like just kind of obsessed with the idea of it since I realized. Yeah.
And a lot of your lyrics, you said like angels are looking out for you.
Yeah.
Was
exactly.
That like? Can you explain that?
I don't really know how to explain it. I just feel like I have heaps of angels. And yeah, but like also, I think that like, do you know much about the ideas of like metaphysics and like laws of attraction?
Yeah, but explain it.
It's just like a good summary is that you could think of your thoughts and prayers as like actual energies, and there's like quite a lot of science to it as well that it turns them from thoughts into your physical reality. And I think there's lots of different ways that different religions explain that. So like a lot of religions have the idea of angels like being kind of the physical answer to the prayer, like they're the ones that make it happen.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So like I kind of drift between all sorts of different beliefs, but I think that angels are like that they're like a really beautiful way of looking at that metaphysical science. So like that's what I like about it.
Yeah. So I guess you're not like religious in that sense, right?
I think I really think religion is interesting, but I wouldn't say that I'm like a strict one religion. Like I think they're all just different ideas explaining a very similar thing. They're just different ways of like interpreting it.
How did you decide on the phrase Hannah Montana of the
So that was when I was in school, and I was like was doing all the stuff at school, and then in like when I had free time I would go to the studio, so like I kept the two things very separate from each other, so it felt like Miley turning into Hannah and then Hannah turning into Miley. But I don't think it applies anymore since I'm not in school anymore.
But at that point actually, what did like your friends around you think about your whole like
I thought they thought it was like a joke.
And you proved them all wrong so quickly.
Yeah, I think they thought I was joking. And I was like, oh, well, I can't kind of be bothered explaining that I'm not joking. But they've been really supportive.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I don't think they realized that I was serious. Actually, sometimes I don't, like, even now, sometimes I don't know when I'm joking or not. Like, I think that I don't blame them for thinking it was a joke.
How do you say your music has changed since the early songs you made?
Like, I think I've learned more about the process and about people and stuff. And like production is a main thing that I really love learning about, and I've learned so much, and like yeah, I think I've just learned more.
How about the style itself?
I think that every single song that I make pretty much is like a different style to another one, like because I used to really worry about that and be like, oh, I'm not like, I wish I could have one sound for this EP, or like wish I could like know what genre this is. But then I realized that I like albums that have lots of different sounding songs on them, and that my writing style for vocals is like the thread that kind of carries it all, so I don't really need to stress about the production and the sounds, because like when they hear my voice, people will know that it's my song.
What would you say have been your like inspirations for a music video? I feel like it's very like a MALLRAT type of music video.
Oh yeah, for my music videos?
Yeah.
Well, like the earlier ones, I like just me like downloading videos from YouTube and then like scrapping them together. Kind of like Lana Del Rey video games and like some of her early videos. Except like more 90s, maybe, more cartoon stuff in them. And like I love like 90s fashion. I'm always like watching like videos from the 90s just for the fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But for more recent stuff, I don't know, I like so many different things. I really love Travis Scott's videos.
Oh,
They're so good.
Yeah.
And all Lana's videos are still so cool.
Were you going by other names before MALLRAT?
No.
Oh.
That was like the first stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you come up with that again?
Well, like Grace was taken, so I had to think of something. And then there's a song by the Orwells called MALLRAT's La La La, and when I heard it, it just like reminded me of like a really angsty teen movie, and I was like, well, that's how I feel right now, so that's perfect. And yeah.
Did you ever think of going by your full name?
Nah.
No.
Shore is like such a boring last name, it just doesn't sound good.
How do you think you've grown as a person since when you were younger?
Like, I think I've become more assertive and better at saying like no and telling people what I want, and like thinking about business stuff. I can't believe how beautiful all these flowers are.
Oh yeah,
Like, they're so
so
stunning.
manicured.
Yeah, I think I've just become like better at being in charge.
Mm-hmm. What would you say have been your biggest challenges so far?
Well, since I started doing music, it feels like everything has just been a breeze.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I haven't really had any crazy issues since then. But I've it's just been like learning experiences. Nothing really bad.
Yeah. What does success look like to you?
I feel successful right now. I just hope that I can do it on a bigger scale. So like, I'm doing my dream job, which is music, and I'm traveling with it, and
I love that.
Yeah, and like I'm surrounded by people that I love. So I hope that I can just do it on a bigger scale and like travel to different parts of the world and have like fill bigger rooms with fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, just this on a bigger scale.
What does love mean to you?
Did you say love?
Yeah.
I think it's just like unconditional, and it's not about, just what does it mean to me? I don't know. I think I love everybody. That's a tough question.
Yeah. Last question. What do you want to be remembered for?
Have you seen Nathan For You?
No.
Oh my god, then I won't bother referencing it. But you should watch it.
How many people here have?
Yeah, it's if you've watched it, it reminds me of that episode where he's going to the horse riding stable and they're trying to let obese people ride horses, and they figure out this really like extremely complex way of doing it.
Oh
and then
my
he's telling the lady who owns the stable that this is going to be her legacy, and she's like, I mean, like, there are a lot of things that I hope to be remembered for, like how well I did in competitions, and like my family's like, no, this is your legacy, this will be your only legacy. Yeah, I don't know, I don't really mind if people, I hope that people just still like the songs, and they can still find them special.
Yeah. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye guys.